back on my stage. You'll notice part of what I'm doing here is I keep changing up the stage sets. And, part of that is trying to reinvent myself for the reality of what is occurring out there. Let's think now about what is really occurring in your industry. What are the trends with all this stuff that are going to stick? And if we again go to my innovation mantra, how do we run our business better? How do we grow our business? And how do we transform our business? And specifically, Greg, going to the question that came in, I want you to think about the issues that I'm about to go through, and I want you to be thinking about, well, what of these issues can I innovate with at the store level in terms of that construct about running the business better, growing the business, and transforming the business? What do we need to do at an RTOA level? I think what you are dealing with here as the pandemic has taken hold is you've had a lot of collaborative Zoom meetings. I think you're discovering, like many organizations, how do we innovate differently? Look, we can all just get on a Zoom call and have a conversation about something and innovate faster. So what can you take on as an RTOA association level initiative in discussions and cooperative attitude with the franchisor to move these issues forward? Because there's a lot of trends which have unfolded with the pandemic. Some of these trends, again, were underway before, and they have all accelerated as a result of the pandemic. So probably the biggest is the emergence of what we call ghost kitchens. Ghost kitchens have gone mainstream. Now you'll see this talked about in the industry with a variety of words and phrases. Ghost kitchens, cloud kitchens, virtual kitchens. The concept is that we will increasingly create facilities in which we just do the cooking and which has the delivery infrastructure and has the technology for the consumer ordering at home or ordering through mobile. It simply becomes a facility for the cooking of the food, because perhaps we might see fewer people actually going to physical restaurants. And before you recoil in horror at that thought, we're going to talk about, in the fourth and final section of this talk, about what we might see as we eventually get into an era of post-pandemic recovery. We've seen a lot of initiatives in this regard. Chipotle's, this is a great story. Chipotle's has actually set up their first digital kitchen, and they actually set this up outside West Point, the military academy. And what it is a test facility that they will use to understand what's really involved in having a cloud kitchen or having a virtual kitchen or having an offsite kitchen. And they've got a captive audience. They've got the West Point cadets actually in West Point and all the family members around. And this is designed to optimize their understanding of how to be most efficient and proactive in this new and digital world. A fascinating trend is coming with guest ghosts, and I think this one's going to have huge legs, huge potential, because you think about it, what if we have a facility which is just focused on cooking, and the consumer adapts to that, which they seem to have. Think about the number of people who have been doing online ordering and home delivery. What if we could use that facility to bring in a celebrity guest who develops some sort of food or some sort of brand? And we've seen that with a rapper who goes by the name of Wiz. I mean, obviously, I'm not a rap fan, but this fellow has worked with One Ghost Kitchen to quickly come out with a new particular food product for home delivery and curbside pickup called Hotbot by Wiz, and he's using a ghost kitchen to accomplish this. We are seeing in the higher end of the restaurant industry culinary chefs, food stars doing this type of thing, and this sort of ties into what was happening with food trucks pre-COVID. It's the fact that celebrities can now bring a product to market faster than ever before. Coincident with cloud kitchens, virtual kitchens, whatever the heck we want to call them, multi-brand kitchens. And I think part of what is happening is real estate groups and major brands are realizing, look, if we're going to set up a cloud kitchen, maybe we can have a facility in one kitchen where they are cooking KFC and Burger King and McDonald's and RTOA and a bunch of other products, and the consumer never knows it because it's all happening in one facility where brand integrity, ingredient integrity is happening. Look, our inclination to say that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. We're actually going to do a poll around that later on. I call those the innovation killers. We're actually seeing this emerge. There was actually in Burlington, Vermont, a test where a Chili's facility assisted a non-brand restaurant company called It's Just Wings to bring their product to market. using curbside pickup and delivery and online ordering and all this stuff. Chili's sitting back and saying, hey, we can be a cloud kitchen and maybe we can bring other non-brand food product to market. These are the trends we need to watch. These are the trends which have all been unfolding around us at an absolutely furious pace because everybody's innovating faster than ever before. Better menu management, right? You've been focused on that. Restaurants have been figuring out what they do well and what works for delivery and working on cutting everything else. You've become really good. And I think that goes forward. We're going to have better focus on how do we manage margins. A real focus on micro menus. If we're going to be doing all this curbside pickup and the consumers are changing, we got to be really good at managing our quantities, managing our margins, managing our complexity. And so what we're seeing with every restaurant is, look at the sign there, our menu is limited. We are doing limited offerings. We're going to do what we do really well and we're going to throw away the rest. They're focusing on getting their hit dishes right? And a lot of opportunity for innovation there. This trend, I think, is very, very real, faster time to market. And Greg, I notice I'm hitting right up about the limit of 1250, cognizant of time here. What we're seeing as a result of this focus on speed is organizations are realizing they can bring product to market faster than ever before. Great story out of Florida where they brought a new chicken fast food product to market in just 8 weeks. Just 8 weeks from conception to delivery. A fascinating story with the Cloud Kitchen, again, back in Vermont, where a Cloud Kitchen, the owner was looking, and he's bringing a particular product to market. And he said, well, I could do premium wieners and hot dogs. And he's brought a new brand to market just like that called Doggy Style. So faster time to market. Very much a real focus on better analytics. Right? Because we have these mobile relationships, we have this online ordering, we have increased loyalty opportunities. So everybody in your industry is talking about, well, how do we understand that data better? How do we drill down in terms of what we have in terms of all this data we never had before to really develop that understanding of the consumer? Key trend is the package, is the brand. Think about what is occurring now. You have pizza boxes going to the customer. That's your opportunity to be in front of them. And I came across this fabulous quote from a fellow in the industry, Playground Hospitality, who said, you think about the reality of it, you're putting your bag in the brand. You're putting your brand in the bag. And you have so much opportunity for innovation in terms of what you can do to maintain that relationship, build the relationship, get future product uplift. That is the big focus now for innovation. It's not the storefront. It's not the big LED sign in the front of the restaurant. It's what you're putting in the bag. There's obviously a new focus on sustainable packaging. We, the consumer, are sitting at home and we're getting Amazon packages, we're getting shipping packages, we're getting food packages, we're getting grocery packages and all this stuff. I know my recycle bin is overflowing and there is no shortage of stories online where restaurants are focused on how do we reduce the environmental footprint of what we were doing. So this particular restaurant in Halifax, Nova Scotia, a milkshake and hamburger institution using sugarcane and bamboo containers, biodegradable cutlery, paper straws. Over in Singapore, there's a really interesting initiative called Bearpack, and it's actually a reusable food container sharing service where the product goes out and it is specifically branded and pitched that when you are done, bring it back or we will pick it up next time and we will actually reuse it because sustainability is going to continue to be a key part of our brand. Fascinating, the quirky little article I came across, staffing issues. If we eventually do get back to restaurants, contactless payment. And a lot of our staff have been in a situation where a good part of their remuneration has come from tips. What happens in a world of contactless payment? Restaurant workers are indicating they're afraid to enforce COVID safety measures, right? Not just because contactless payment, but they might lose out on tips if they enforce the regulations necessary to provide for safe social distancing. One of the most fascinating trends, store architecture change. Think about everything you've done to change and challenge the layout of your store. And we know what is happening. Burger King, KFC, everybody is talking about we're going to have multiple drive-through lanes. One of them is going to be dedicated to Uber and DoorDash and all of these other food delivery services. But we're going to put a lot more resources into out-of-store architecture because we believe that's where a big part of our growth is going to occur. Kentucky Fried Chicken, they're completely reimagining their entire restaurant focus to imagine a more digital, contactless experience in the age of coronavirus. They've The quote, they've joined a growing list of restaurants looking to modernize its dining spaces to reflect changing consumer habits and preferences amid, look at that, there's a typo error, it disappeared off the bottom of the screen. The point is, everybody's changing. There's a great article, which Greg will send out to you later on, from an architect named Roman Mars, which has talked about how restaurants have been rethinking architecture. The way these restaurants are set up at their doors. He's explaining, you think about what has happened. We've shifted a lot of our focus of store design to that 50 square foot area around the door, because it's all about logistics. It's all about what we're doing in delivery. It's all about what we're doing for pickup. It's all about contactless payment. It's all about maximizing the efficiency of what we can do to get the product to the consumer. And he goes on to say, it seems the potential future for the restaurant is purely user interface design and not so much chairs. Yeah, this is kind of depressing. Are we coming back to restaurants? We're going to get to that in the next section. But these are some fundamental changes which are really changing your future. And I think part of what is happening, a lot of the stuff which is in your control, is how do we repurpose our space? And I think going back, the key attribute is going to be safety. Safety is going to be the new brand foundation. You need to display on a continuous basis that we are a brand that is safe, that can be trusted, that can be relied upon. And so I think part of what is happening is we're having this massive shift in the center of the overall gravity, and these things, I think, are being perceived as permanent. These don't disappear when COVID goes away. Not long ago, a fast casual concept might have been fearful of scuttling its seating area, but the pandemic has normalized grab-and-go dining to such a degree that Chipotle believes the change is permanent. Everything we are going to do, and the numbers, think about the numbers. In 2019, 12% of restaurants were doing delivery, 25% were doing mobile ordering. We're now at 63 and 69%. I mean, this is a massive transformational shift. It has accelerated the shift to online by consumers by as much as 3 years. Domino's believes that 90% of their orders going forward will be from smartphones, laptops, other digital devices, including our car. So I think the key issues going forward, the technology investments, the innovation investments. And this is where you're in the mindset, what can I do on my own? What can we do from an RTOA perspective? What do we need to do with our franchisor to accelerate our innovation? Mobile, loyalty, quality, sustainability, safety, and services.